Michael Genovese is president of the Global Policy Institute at Loyola Marymount University. David Katz, a criminal defense attorney and former assistant U.S. attorney. Both of them are with me here in Los Angeles. Okay, so let's just to follow up on this point, which we're hearing from the president and a lot of other Republicans about the role of the FBI. Here's part of a statement which came from the Republican Chuck Grassley, who's chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Dr. Ford's testimony would reflect her personal knowledge and memory of events. Nothing the FBI or any other investigator does would have any bearing on what Dr. Ford tells the committee. So there is no reason for any further delay. David, do you agree with that?
No, I think that they should resume and reopen the FBI investigation. This is kind of putting the cart before the horse. This is having a trial with testimony at the very beginning of a case instead of having the investigation precede the testimony. Now, it's true that there have been FBI investigations of Judge Kavanaugh before, but never as to these allegations. Having said that, I do think that she ought to testify on Monday. I think if push comes to shove, she ought to testify on Monday.
When the president says, the FBI says that they don't do that, I mean, it's the Federal Bureau of Investigations. They do investigate, and they would investigate if the president directed them to. Would that be unusual if he gave that directive?
It would be normal that he gave that directive. In fact, during the Anita Hill allegations against Clarence Thomas when he was being nominated to the Supreme Court, a direction was given by President Bush then to go investigate these allegations, given to the FBI by the president. So the only precedent that we have that's right on point is a president giving approval for just the sort of investigation that Trump is not allowing in this situation.
Okay, well, we heard from Caitlin Collins at the end of that report. You know, the president was asked if, you know, this is political. He refused to sort of get into it. Well, he has now. There was a tweet just a short time ago. The Supreme Court is one of the main reasons I got elected president. I hope Republican voters and others are watching and studying the Democrat playbook. He also talked about the Democrats and obstruction during a news conference on Tuesday.
They obstruct. And because they resist. That's the name of their campaign against me. They just resist, and they just obstruct. And frankly, I think they're lousy on policy, and in many ways, they're lousy politicians. But they're very good on obstruction.
Michael, the tweet in particular seems as if Donald Trump wants to make this an issue for the midterm elections. And does the name Merrick Garland mean anything to you at this particular point in time?
Well, the president's absolutely right. One of the main reasons he got elected, and one of the main reasons why a lot of Republicans who were not sympathetic to President or candidate Trump ended up voting for him was the Supreme Court. He's given them one justice they like, Kavanaugh's another they like. So I think while the president is dropping in popularity, I think this is his strong point. This is where he gives the left hook to the Democrats, and his Republican allies like that very much.
And what about the issue of Merrick Garland that, you know, the Republicans held up for 400-something days?
Ancient history to the Republicans.
Yeah,
and I think that, you know, the Republicans are playing hardball. They're not playing fair ball. And that's just the way politics goes. I think the Democrats might do something similar if the tables were turned. You want to get him confirmed. You want to do it quickly. Now, I don't know why there's such a big rush. He's going to get confirmed unless something really explosive is uncovered and revealed. He's got it in the bag. Why is Monday such a magical day?
Listen to Christine Ford's attorney speaking on CNN a few hours ago.
Since coming forward, her life has been turned upside down. And rushing forward into a hearing when she's under this much pressure isn't the way to do it. There's no reason to do it. It's not that there's a stalling tactic at play. She's more than willing to go forward and talk to the committee in whatever form that is, and to assist with law enforcement in their investigation.
David, in a case like this where, you know, a woman is accusing someone of sexual assault, which is a traumatic experience in and of itself, is that enough of a reason to slow everything down? I mean, from your experience?
Well, it's very normal in these kind of traumatic situations for there not to be a contemporaneous complaint. That was always one of the defenses. I'm a criminal defense attorney, and I remember very well when that was a typical defense. But it doesn't wash anymore. Having said that, she does have an opportunity to tell her story publicly to the nation. And that sort of thing will make it very hard for Senator Collins to say, I disbelieve the woman. And I think it would be hard for that senator from North Dakota who's facing re-election, who's a Democrat, to say, I disbelieve her. but she has to testify. Otherwise, the Republicans in charge of the Senate Judiciary Committee will say there's no evidence. There's a poison pen letter, but there's no evidence. And she should not give them that out because I think they'll take it.
Okay, really a little bit of time left. So I want to move on to yet another tell-all book about to be released. Full disclosure by the adult film star Stormy Daniels. Goes into fairly graphic details about the affair she alleged she had with Donald Trump back in 2006. At one point, she writes this: "It may have been the least impressive sex I've ever had, but clearly he didn't share that opinion." There's a lot of other graphic details of a personal issue about the president, who, you know, Michael is reportedly fuming about this unflattering portrayal of him in this book. But he seems to be in a bit of a bind here. He can't really say anything about it because then it's almost like admitting the affair took place. I don't know what sort of... By denying this affair, he sort of wrapped himself or painted himself into a corner.
Well, you know, 20 years ago, we went through this mud and the gutter with President Clinton. And Mr. Kavanaugh was one of the people who was pushing Ken Starr to go further and deeper into that gutter. Now we're back in the gutter again with Stormy Daniels and Donald Trump, and it's a place we shouldn't want to go. We don't need to hear these things. This has no place in the public arena. It has nothing to do with politics. It's dirty. It's salacious. And I'm interested in the potential crime. I'm not interested in these salacious.
Yeah, but the thing is that the book will be released October 2nd, which is just over a month before the midterms.
That's right.
Whether it was planned or not, how much of an impact do you think this will have? Because Stormy Daniels will be back in the headlines, I guess.
Well, there are going to be headlines from the book. We've got the headlines already, and, you know, salacious little stories. People like the gossipy style. I don't know if it's going to have much of an impact. I think people are going to look past this. I think this is kind of separate and distinct, and people kind of say, okay, that's that. Let's look here. Let's look at the economy. Let's look at Kavanaugh and those things. I don't know that it'll have that much of an impact.
Everyone's sort of, their opinion's already baked into the cake, if you like, before the midterms, at least on this issue of Stormy Daniels. Michael and David, thank you so much. See you next hour.
Thank you.